Hello students, welcome to our second week. This hopefully is the final week that we will have where we are fully remote. Hopefully beginning in week 3, we'll begin to have students come on campus back for labs. And please remember that you don't come to campus every week. Your lab will alternate week to week. So some weeks you'll be coming to campus and then other weeks you'll be doing your work online. But for all of us, hopefully, again, this is the last sort of fully online week that we have. So if you've noticed, I try to put a set of weekly announcements every Monday that gives you an overview of what you're going to be learning in the class and then also what assignments are due. This will be the last week that I do a video that's related to that. Again, I'm using these videos just as a way to communicate with you all a little bit more about things going on in the class since we aren't face-to-face and we can't have conversations with each other. So this will probably be one of the last videos you see unless something else comes up later on in the semester. But when you do come to the web page, our Blackboard page, please make sure that you read through those announcements. They also get sent out to you via email each week. So please make sure you're checking your email because this is going to be the best way to sort of keep track of what's due and when. So I still have last week's announcements up from week 1. There will be a new announcement that'll say week 2, to which this video is posted to, and it'll give you a rundown of what we'll be talking about. A few things from last week that I did notice. First of all, I know there were some issues with accessing the group discussion page in the week 1 module folder. I had a couple of students who reached out that said, you know, when I tried to click on that link, it didn't take me anywhere. If that does happen, and I believe I have corrected that error, but if that does happen, there's another way that you can get to discussion every week. If you look in the on our landing page here in our navigation menu here, there's a navigation menu that there's a link that says small group discussion. So you can always just click that. And again, once you click that, your group will come up here. And again, I'm getting this message because I have the teacher mode turned off, and this is what students see. But your discussion section would pop up here, and you would click on it. And then once again, you can just go to your group discussion page. All right. So if for some reason the link in the assignment folder isn't working, which again, I believe I've taken care of that, but if for some reason it isn't working, you can just go ahead and use the link here that says small group discussions, and that will take you to this discussion page as well. Also, keep in mind, and again, I sent this out in the email, my Sunday email, which I always send a weekly summary email, and I'll remind everyone again, the discussion from last week, the intro board was not your graded discussion. The intro board is just the, hi, nice to meet everybody, here's a little bit about me. That's all it was. There's no grading for that post. Everyone needs to participate in the week 1 discussion. That is what is being graded. And I know a fair number of students didn't do that. And so again, miscommunication, the link wasn't working. I totally get it. So I will be extending until Wednesday of this week. I will allow you to still participate in that week 1 discussion up and through Wednesday this week. Please remember to participate means you respond to this discussion prompt. And you also have to reply to another student. Just one student. I don't make you do 2 replies, but I do make you do at least 1 reply. You have to reply to another student. If you're not doing that on a weekly basis, you're only going to get partial credit for your discussion. So again, for anyone who did not participate in discussion week 1 discussion, please make sure that you do that by Wednesday, and I'll still give you credit for that. And I also do have the week 2 discussion available now as well. So speaking of week 2, what are we going to be learning about? We're going to be learning about ecology and ecosystems this week. So week 1 was just your general, here's our topic, here's some of the things we're going to be learning about this semester, just a very general overview. Now we're going to start to get into specifics. And before we can talk about how humans are impacting our environment, we have to understand the basics of how the environment works, right? So what do natural systems look like? How do they work without the influence of humans on them? That's the study of ecology. And ecology is really looking at how living things in the environment interact with each other, and also how they interact with their non-living environment. So we're going to be talking through all of those things. So looking at the lecture materials this week, I have a link to our chapter on ecosystems in our book. I have a lecture about ecosystems and then the notes that go along with that lecture. And then I have a couple of other additional things in here. These are optional, but I highly recommend them. First of all are the biogeochemical cycle videos. So you'll learn what a biogeochemical cycle is this week. In a nutshell, it's how different elements move through living things in the environment. So things like carbon and nitrogen and phosphorus. These are very quick videos. They're only a couple of minutes long, but they're really going to help your understanding of these important topics. The last video is about species interactions, and this is also a topic that you'll learn about in the lecture. But this is specifically about species interactions in the tropics. So pre-pandemic, we used to have students go on a study abroad trip to Costa Rica. It was usually during the in-between times, our fall semester and our spring semester. We would have faculty who would leave a study abroad trip. You'd go down for, I think it was a week, maybe 2 weeks, and you would learn all about ecology and ecosystems in Costa Rica, excuse me. So some of our partners down there have actually created a series of videos based on some of the topics that they actually used to talk about with our students when they were down there. No study abroad trips now. We're hoping to bring those back in the very near future, but for now, you can still get an idea of what some of those topics were discussed. So again, this is just an optional video if you're interested. It's got some really good information, and again, it features one of our partners down in Costa Rica. So as far as your lab this week goes, I want you to go outside. And I know this time of year isn't always necessarily the best time to go outside, but there's something to be said about spending time in nature during the winter. It's a lot quieter. It's a lot calmer. You don't hear nearly as much going on because a lot of things are at rest, right? So we have many animals who are not very active during the winter. We have even birds. Lots of them have left the area. Some stay, and those that do stay are somewhat active, but even they're a little bit quieter themselves. But if you haven't had a chance to explore nature in winter, I highly recommend it. And this lab is a good way to do that. So as part of your lab this week, you're going to think of, and again, I encourage you to go outside. Could be a forest preserve. It could be a nature trail. It could be your backyard, whatever you have access to. Just go outside and do some observations. So you're going to keep track of things like the plants and the animals that you see. And again, in winter, it becomes a little bit harder. I've given you some resources to help you out with that. You're also going to think about food chains and nutrient cycles. And again, I've given you some resources here to help with that part of the lab. And again, you're just going to kind of go through and think about how living things are interacting with each other, how they're interacting with a non-living environment. And so that's sort of the lab in and of itself. 15-20 minutes is probably all you need outside. If you'd like to spend more time outside, that's fantastic. Please just make sure you're being safe. Watch the weather. Again, make sure you're not going dangerous places, like don't go out on ice or things like that. But as long as you are bundled up and you stay safe, you can have actually, I think, a really nice time spending some quality time in nature this winter. Also this week is your first lab quiz. So the lab quizzes are about whatever topic you discussed the week before. A couple things to note about the lab quiz. Once you open it, you have to submit it. So you only get one chance. I don't allow multiple chances on the lab quizzes. So please make sure that you have just reviewed what you've done in the last lab so that you can answer the questions in the lab quiz. You can have both up at the same time if you want. You can have your lab open that you previously submitted to me, and then you actually have the quiz going and you've got two screens going. That's perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. But please note that you can't look at the lab questions and then exit out of the quiz and then open your lab and go look for the answers. You can't do that because once you open that quiz, it's on forced completion, which means you have to submit it. So then you will get a 0, and then you'll email me and you'll say, oh no, my quiz, I didn't want to submit it. Can you please reopen it? So in order to avoid all that, the easiest thing to do is just make sure that you're ready to take this quiz. Again, I highly recommend having last week's completed lab right next to you. All right, so lab quiz, lab, we talked about the lecture activities, other assignments very briefly, your discussion posts, once again, I already talked about that. The check-in survey seems to be going well. I answered a lot of those questions in my Sunday email that were brought up to me during that survey, so that's great. Keep those questions coming. I'll address them as we go along. Sometimes I might talk about the answers to the questions in class. Sometimes I might just talk about them via email or things like that. So I will always do my best to try to specifically address questions. Sometimes I notice some of the questions are things that are questions that might be better answered sort of one-on-one. So maybe you'll notice that you posted a question on the board and then I specifically emailed you and gave you the answer right there. It's simply because it was a question that I feel needed to be addressed right then versus waiting till later. So sometimes I will respond one-on-one to those questions, but for the most part, it's going to be part of an email, some general information that I share with everyone. Last thing, real quick, starting in week 3, I don't lead discussion anymore. You get to lead discussion. So what that means is that instead of responding to a question from me, you are going to respond to articles that you guys select based on weekly topics. So in this week's assignment folder, you'll notice a discussion leader sign-up sheet. And when you click on the link, it's going to take you to just a Google page, Google Sheets. And for this sheet, you will see your section number is going to be at the top. And again, this will be specific to your section. For those of you who are in section B01, please click on the tab that says B01. Make sure it says B01, that's your section. Or for B02, again, click on the tab, it'll say B02. Same thing for B21 and B22. Okay, so these are separate. When you get here, you'll notice that there are the weeks of the semester, the topics that we'll be talking about, and 2 places to sign up. So you're going to sign up to lead discussion one of these weeks. You can choose whatever week you want. And in the week that you sign up to lead discussion, what you'll need to do is you'll need to choose an article about that topic. So if you choose to do air pollution, that's the week that you want to lead discussion, you need to find an article that you can share with everybody about air pollution. A simple Google search is fine. You don't have to do anything more specific than that. Please make sure whatever source you're using is a notable source. It's from a known news entity, or it's known for what we call an NGO, a non-governmental organization, or it could be a governmental organization. There's lots of different places that you can look for these, but just kind of be wary about something that, if you see information that looks completely different than everything else you're getting Google results on, it's probably not necessarily a reputable source. So just check your sources carefully. That's all I ask. So what you'll do then is you will take your article. You're going to give me a 1-paragraph summary of what it's about. Then you're also going to respond to it, which is, I really liked this article because this article interested me because I learned a lot of really great things. Here's what I learned, whatever it happens to be. So the instructions are here. I even give you an example post of what someone else has written for you to kind of model off of. Okay, and then you're going to create your own discussion forum. In the week 3 folder, I will have a video that shows you exactly how you do that, how you create your own discussion forum. So you'll get all of the instructions. The only important thing to note is that in this week, week 2, you need to go ahead and start signing up for these weeks. I will tell you that if you do not sign up to be a discussion leader, you cannot participate in discussion that is student-led. All right, so if I see that you're trying to post into the week 3 discussion forum and you haven't signed up for discussion yet, I'm not going to give you a grade until you do that. Okay, so I need everyone to sign up for discussion within the next couple of weeks. And I think that's it. I think that covers everything. Again, all signs indicate that we will be back on campus the week of January the 31st, which means that, again, going back to, if you remember here on the first page, I gave you a lab schedule. Please make sure you refer to this lab schedule. Also, please understand that you have to be cleared for Harper in order to come to campus. So everyone who was with us this fall, you understand what that means. You either have to have proof of vaccination or proof of a negative COVID test through the app and the information that is sent to you through Harper. Please don't come on the first day of class and show me your vaccination card or show me your negative COVID results. You actually have to go through the app that Harper uses and process all of that information. If you are new to Harper, if you're starting on the semester with us and this is the first time that you're maybe being aware of this information, I highly recommend that you go to Harper's COVID information page. So I believe I put that in the course orientation model. Let's see, module activities. No, I put it in additional information. I'm sorry, it's in the additional information tab. So our COVID information webpage. If you haven't been here, again, I highly recommend it. It gives you all the information about what you need to do, the Cleared for Harper system. So again, if you're not familiar with this, please check all of this out before you come to campus, because as instructors, we're not allowed to let you be there unless you're cleared for Harper, which is just a little green pass. So in any case, make sure you understand that information before you come. That's all I have. Hope everyone is doing well so far. Keep those questions coming via email. That's what I'm here for. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. Thanks, everybody.